According to United States cybersecurity officials, there have been a few data breaches in some government agencies as part of a larger hacking campaign by the ransomware gang Clop, which is likely based in Russia. Exploiting a vulnerability, this cybercriminal group has stolen significant data from various high-profile victims, such as Shell, British Airways, and the BBC. Targeting US government entities will likely lead to increased scrutiny by global law enforcement towards the cybercriminals engaged in this prominent hacking spree. Progress Software, which owns MoveIt, patched the vulnerability at the end of May, and the United States Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency released an advisory with the Federal Bureau of Investigation on June 7th, warning about Clop's exploitation and the urgent need for all organizations, both public and private, to patch the flaw. A senior Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency official told reporters yesterday that all files have now been updated. Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency representatives chose not to disclose the names of the US government agencies affected by the recent string of cyber attacks. However, they did confirm that they were informed by the Department of Energy that it was one of the affected agencies. According to reports, which originally publicized the attacks, millions of people's state driver's license and identification data in Louisiana and Oregon were also compromised. Clop, the hacking group behind these recent attacks, had previously claimed responsibility for the cyber attacks on the state governments of Minnesota and Illinois. Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency Director Jen Easterly stated in a press briefing that her agency is currently assisting various federal agencies that have been affected by intrusions impacting their applications. According to Easterly, the intrusions do not appear to be used for more extensive access, persistence within targeted systems, or theft of specific high-value information. From the information gathered from industry partners in the Joint Cyber Defense Collaborative, this attack seems to be more of an opportunistic one. Easterly stated that the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency has not detected any indication of Clop threatening to reveal any data stolen from the US government. Furthermore, a senior Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency official, who declined to be identified, informed journalists that there is currently no proof of Clop's association with the Russian government. Clop itself stated that its focus is on attacking businesses and promised to delete any information obtained from law enforcement or government entities. In 2018, Clop established itself as a regular ransomware attacker who would encrypt a victim's computer systems and demand payment in exchange for the decryption key. This group is notorious for discovering and exploiting security weaknesses in commonly used software and equipment to obtain sensitive information from various organizations, which it then uses to launch data extortion assaults against them. This information is targeted towards knowledgeable readers who seek a neutral tone and is intended to inform about a general topic. According to Alan Lisker, a recorded future analyst who has expertise in ransomware, the Clop ransomware was moderately successful in the past, but did not stand out until it transitioned from using encryption-based ransomware to exploiting vulnerabilities in enterprise software and stealing massive amounts of data. Cybercrime has become a significant threat in the digital age, affecting individuals, businesses, and governments worldwide. The financial impact of cybercrime is staggering, with billions of dollars lost each year. One of the primary factors contributing to the high cost of cybercrime is financial fraud. Cybercriminals employ various tactics, such as phishing, identity theft, and credit card fraud, to steal money from individuals and organizations. The financial losses incurred from these fraudulent activities are substantial. According to a report by the Center for Strategic and International Studies, global losses due to cybercrime exceeded $1 trillion in 2020 alone. Businesses are particularly vulnerable to cyber attacks, which can result in significant financial losses. Cybercriminals target companies of all sizes, seeking to exploit vulnerabilities in their systems and steal sensitive data. The cost of cybercrime to businesses includes financial losses from data breaches, theft of intellectual property, disruption of operations, legal expenses, and damage to reputation. A study conducted by Accenture estimates that the average cost of cybercrime for an organization is $13 million per year. Governments also bear a substantial financial burden due to cybercrime. The cost of cyber attacks on critical infrastructure, government networks, and defense systems can be astronomical. These attacks not only result in financial losses, but also pose a threat to national security. Governments invest significant resources in preventing and mitigating cyber threats, including cybersecurity infrastructure, personnel, and incident response mechanisms. The International Monetary Fund estimates that cybercrime costs governments around the world $600 billion annually. The impact of cybercrime extends beyond immediate financial losses. There are also indirect costs associated with cyber incidents, such as the expense of investigation, recovery, and system upgrades. Organizations often need to invest in cybersecurity measures, including training employees, implementing security protocols, and deploying advanced technologies to prevent future attacks. These investments can be substantial, adding to the overall cost of cybercrime. Another factor contributing to the cost of cybercrime is the loss of intellectual property and trade secrets. Cybercriminals target businesses to steal proprietary information, research and development data, and trade secrets. This intellectual property theft not only results in significant financial losses, but also undermines the competitive advantage of affected organizations. Estimates suggest that the theft of intellectual property through cyber espionage costs the global economy hundreds of billions of dollars each year. Furthermore, cybercrime has a ripple effect on the economy as a whole. When businesses and individuals fall victim to cyber attacks, consumer confidence can be eroded, leading to a decrease in online transactions and economic activity. The fear of cyber threats can discourage investment in digital technologies and innovation, hindering economic growth and development. The World Economic Forum estimates that the global economy could lose $3 trillion by 2020 due to cybercrime. The cost of cybercrime is not limited to financial losses. It also includes intangible costs, such as the impact on individuals' privacy, emotional well-being, and trust in digital systems. Cybercrime can cause significant stress, anxiety, and loss of confidence in online activities. The erosion of trust in digital platforms and services can have long-lasting implications for individuals' willingness to engage in online activities, hindering the growth of e-commerce and digital services. Earlier this week, an organization monitoring the movements of a beluga whale that was spotted in Norway in 2019 wearing a harness reported that the same whale has now been sighted off the coast of Sweden. This incident had garnered attention amid speculation that the whale was a spy that belonged to the Russian Navy. Initially spotted in Finnmark, Norway's northernmost region, this particular cetacean proceeded to gradually swim down the upper portion of Norway's coastline for over 3 years. However, it has recently quickened its pace during the past few months, swimming the second half of the coastline before continuing on to Sweden. 2 days ago, an individual was sighted in Hunnebostrand, located on the southwestern coast of Sweden. According to Sebastian Strand, a marine biologist affiliated with One Whale, it remains unclear why this particular whale has rapidly increased its speed, particularly since it is currently moving far away from its normal habitat. The researcher said that it is possible that the male beluga whale was searching for a mate. Alternatively, his behavior may be driven by a desire for social interaction, as beluga whales are known for their highly social nature, leading him to search for other members of his species. According to Strand, the whale is thought to be between 13 and 14 years old and is currently experiencing a surge in hormones as a result of its age. The beluga population that is geographically nearest is situated in the far north region of Norway. Since April 2019, it is believed that the whale has not encountered any belugas in Norway. Upon its initial sighting in the Arctic region of Norway, marine biologists from the Norwegian Directorate of Fisheries carefully detached a harness that was man-made and had been attached to the creature. The mounting brackets of the harness are designed for accommodating an action camera, and the plastic clasps have the phrase "Equipment of St. Petersburg" imprinted on them. Discovery of ancient Mayan city halts ongoing railway project. A railway project of massive proportions has been underway since 2020 in the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. The idea is to connect Yucatan's historic sites, encouraging tourism and highlighting indigenous cultures. However, as it seems, the world's ancestors are doing everything in their power to avoid this transportation revolution from being carried out. While working on the project, more than 300 buildings were discovered, consisting of ancient Mayan civilization, causing another delay to the project. Luckily, the site will be protected as an ecological and archaeological corridor protection plan is set to go into place. It's crazy to imagine that a civilization of humans from the far future would react to finding 300 buildings we use daily, let alone many mundane and jaded responses to discovering hundreds of ancient Mayan buildings and structures. Although somewhat unexplainable, this discovery tells us a lot about building stable structures and reinforces the common idea that Mayans were ahead of their time. Controversial cave discoveries suggest humans reached the Americas much earlier than previously thought. In a recent expedition to the mountains of central Mexico, a team of archaeologists came across evidence that suggests humans may have arrived in North America only 30,000 years ago. This is significantly earlier than what had previously been thought. While exploring the Chiquita cave, the archaeologists discovered hundreds of ancient tools and artifacts covered in several layers of gravel and dirt. The cave is nearly 3,000 meters above sea level in the country's Astillero Mountains. The gravel on top of the tools has been carbon dated between 25,000 and 32,000 years old. The cave would have likely been used by humans on infrequent occasions, as there were very few tools discovered. The speculation for this is that North America was probably extremely dangerous during the last ice age, and the cave may have been used to hide out dangerous storms and blizzards. However, not all scientists believe the claims about humans arriving in the Americas earlier. It's possible that the tools were shifted below older gravel due to geological activity, burrowing animals, or other sorts of activity. In addition, besides the tools, there was very little else found that implied humans inhabited the cave. One claim goes so far as to say that those living in the cave may have been a lost group. They didn't survive to contribute to the modern gene pools and perished in the cave or nearby. However, it's still very possible that there existed societies and humans who reached the Americas well before we initially realized it. This is only one example of a potential group of inhabitants that are considered to have lived there earlier than many others. The cave is still being explored, and it's unknown what might be discovered with more time and effort put into the research. Locusts can smell cancer. Recent studies have demonstrated that the newest piece of the puzzle may lie with none other than bugs, specifically locusts, in detecting cancer. Recent experiments showed that the insects are skilled and surprisingly accurate when it comes to using their sense of smell to parse out healthy human cells from cancerous ones. In fact, their ability to even identify individual cancer cell tracks suggests that locusts may be able to detect different types of cancer. They were able to measure this detection by attaching electrodes to the brains of the locusts and measuring the responses when presented with gas samples from cancerous and healthy cells. These responses, when combined across all of the cells, were remarkably accurate and distinct, clearly identifying the cancerous cells. It's believed that the locusts were able to detect the difference in volatile organic compounds that we breathe out. VOCs are altered when cancer interferes with the healthy metabolic cell processes, so researchers were keen to investigate the response of locusts, which are known for their sharp sense of smell and have been used in other experiments as well, to the differences in VOCs between healthy and cancerous cells. Needless to say, they were not disappointed when the results from the insect's electrodes were displayed. Microbiologist Christopher Contag with Michigan State University spoke about just how revolutionary this discovery could be for the future of cancer research, saying that the early detection is so important and we should use every possible tool to get there, whether it is engineered or provided to us by millions of years of natural selection. If we are successful, cancer will be a treatable disease. We expected that the cancer cells would appear different than the normal cells, but when the bugs could distinguish 3 different cancers from each other, that was amazing. Researchers hope that further experiments can help us to understand the processes by which the locusts are able to identify cancerous cells, allowing us to reverse engineer a technology-based solution for early detection of cancer. There are 4 stages of cancer, and no matter the type, detection and treatment in early stages results in far greater survival rates. Many avenues of current cancer research have focused on successful methods of early detection, which would allow diagnoses to be made much earlier and broadens the treatment options for a cancer patient significantly. The development of a medical device that harnesses this inherent smelling ability of locusts could signal the future for cancer detection.